Alright, so today I'm going to be covering my final project. What I did was create an AimTrainer that you can use for training your aim in for like first-person shooter games per se. So to begin, I'd like to start by showing off this installer I made for it. So you can simply install this on any computer. You'll see pops up with the name AimTrainer, and it just gives you some options. We're just going to go ahead and install it, and there we go, installation complete. So now if I go over to my program files, you'll see it created a folder, TNG, which was just my senior design team name, and it has this folder, AimTrainer. If you go into modules, into the bin, you'll get this executable that you'll be able to do to launch the game. So here we go, there's the game. So this is the game in its current state. So if you right now it's kind of just pre-game, you're going to want to direct your attention to the GUI here on the left. So I'll just go ahead and walk through everything top to bottom and go over everything. So first off, you get the settings button. The settings button you can use to just change some in-game settings, which will be your mouse sensitivity. So if I right now just show off kind of just, this is just me moving my wrist back and forth. I'll try to keep these movements similar. Go in here and increase the sensitivity. It goes from 0.05 to 8. I use that based off of Counter-Strike, which is a popular FPS game. The formula is probably not the same, but I just use that for the range at least. So now if I move in the same, roughly the same, I believe, that I had, you can see I'm almost doing a full 360 now rather than just panning across the back wall, a full 180. Also, I'll turn this back down for now. The next thing is just crosshair size. So the crosshair that you see in the center, you can just increase the overall size of it for people that like larger crosshairs or people that would like smaller crosshairs. Either one will work. And then we have the invert Y, which you can use to just invert the Y direction. I guess you just have to take my word for me, but the Y is now inverted. And then this is a clear high scores button, which I will I'll showcase more once I actually have high scores in. So this is your game mode selector. Right now there's 3 games that I've set out to implement. One is static targets, and then you have a moving targets mode, and then you have flick training. So I'll just start with the static targets for now. The sliders, this will be all the game settings that you'll have here. These will vary. I can just kind of flip through. You'll see they do vary from game to game of the things that you can do. So for the static targets, you have this visible target slider, 10 to 1. This will set how many targets are on the screen at once. So this means that at one time, or at one point, there will be 5, or really any given point, there will be 5 targets on the screen, or you can just have a single target on the screen, or you can have 10 targets on the screen. And then target size will just be the size of the targets, just 5 to 1, which will just vary in the size. I'll showcase these actually working as we get into it. Then you have your inputs for target goal and time limit. So target goal is used for basically hitting a certain, you want to hit a certain amount of targets before the game's over. So if with this current input, I would have to hit 20 targets for the game to end. And the time limit is just to use an actual time, so it'd be like 30. It's based in seconds, so it'd be basically the game would just run for 30 seconds and then end. And you can select the goal that you want to use down here. So you can either use the target goal, use the time goal, or use both. So it'll just, whichever one you reach first will end the game. All right, so now, and then you just have a view high scores button, which you'll see these actually populate as you show off the games. But these will basically just represent your score that you'll see in the bottom. So let's go over the game modes. So for demonstration purposes, we'll just start with basic 5 targets and the static mode, and we'll just do the target goal. And when we hit start, you hear that noise, the targets will spawn, and now your game is now running. So now the cursor is completely movable only with the mouse. You don't have to click and drag. This is just freehand looking around. The cursor is hid, the GUI is hid, and you're in game mode now. So now you can just shoot the targets as you would with anything else. So to show off the sounds, I have just a basic shoot. So you can hear, and then I have there's a sound that goes off when you hit. And let's go ahead and reverse the targets. And there you go. You'll see I get a message for new personal best since I hit a new high score since I didn't have any scores before. And a game over message. The GUI pops back up, and your mouse cursor is now available to move around and do some more selection and stuff. So if I show off the visible targets, and then I'll do the target size as well. So I'm going to do just one really small target, and I'll just do like 3. So just small target. And then also just to show off the logic, so the way the hit detection works is basically based off of your look direction, where I get the look direction of the camera, and then scale it out, scale that unit vector out far to be able to make calculations. So you can see it's pretty accurate. If I hit all around it, it's not hitting it, but as soon as I hit the actual edge, like right here, it hits. I'll go ahead and show off the time as well, so I'll just do 5 seconds and start, and I just won't do anything for 5 seconds, and you'll see the game ends. So yeah, if you didn't notice, or I should explain, the HUD down here in the bottom right will give you just information pertinent to your game. So you have the time that's elapsed, your accuracy, which will give you in fraction and percentage forms, and then the score, which is calculated with a formula using your accuracy and time to basically measure your efficiency, is how I went about it. So now, yeah, you can see this is the current high score that I have. Now you can see that button is updating. So let's go to the moving mode. So the moving mode, you get most of the same options as the static mode. The only difference being that now you have this slider for your target speed, where you can have slow, medium, and fast. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. So you'll see the targets will move side to side, and they also have a 1% chance per update to change direction. So you see they won't just go bound to bound and just bounce back and forth. There will be some variety in their movement to just kind of add an extra layer of challenge and unpredictability to it. So there you go. Works similar to the static game mode. It's just now the targets move to add an extra challenge into it. So yeah, if I move the target speed up to 3, you'll see they kind of go a lot faster now. I'll try to hit these. And there you go. Alright, and then finally you have the flick training. So flick training, you only get you only have a target goal because time isn't a factor in this one. Well, a time goal wouldn't make sense in the sense of the flick training. And then the target size that you want to be hitting. So just quick explanation for if you're not familiar with what a flick is. It's basically just, here if I drag, well here, I'll just show it. So basically what it is you want to have your crosshair centered in a center point, which will be that green circle there. And then basically the goal is to make a quick movement, so like that, like a quick movement to hit a target. So if a target spawned there, then I'd want to go real fast. So if I center this, you'll see a target appears, and the goal is to hit it as fast as possible. You'll see the HUD changes a little bit down here too, where instead of a score, you have an average time. So that's what you want. Or that's what your high score is based off of in the flick mode, is having the lowest average time to in between your flicks. So here, let's just go back into this so I can explain a little more. So yeah, so the way the game works is basically there won't be a target that spawns except for this center one, and you have to hold your crosshair in the center for 1 second, and then a target will spawn. You'll see the timer in the bottom right then starts, and it will go until you hit the target. That will then calculate your average time. The average time will be had. So again, 1 second, and then the target spawns. And basically, your goal is to just hit that target as fast as possible. So that is basically the 3 game modes. As far as other functionality, basically everything is done through the mouse and the GUI. So there's a couple keyboard controls. So if you press P, you can actually pause the game. You can see there's a sound effect for pausing it. From the pause, you can choose to change things about the game. If you want to say you entered an incorrect setting or you want to do something else, this is just an easy way to switch game modes. So you can also uh, so you can pause the game and then you can unpause the game like so, and it will just resume where you left off. You can see the timer does pause and does resume properly. It can be a little weird if you have the GUI selected, then it will, when you press P, well, sometimes it seems like it's like it can get unfocused or something like that, or at least there. So I'm pressing P right now, and it's not unpausing. You have to be unselected from the GUI. That's just something to look out for. And then the other control I have on the keyboard is you can press 1, the 1 key, and it will just exit the game. So if I press 1, there you go. So that is essentially my game. I had a lot of fun doing it. I think it's useful. It can be useful for those who want to practice their aim, get better at their aim for a lot of FPS games, a lot of competitive FPS games that people like to play. I know I just got a new mouse today, in fact, so being able to have this and just practice my movement with my new mouse and get adjusted to its weight and everything that has to do with it. One last thing I wanted to show off here, if I show my high scores here, you can see the high scores now, and if I exit the game, so the high scores are actually stored locally. So if I restart the game here, you'll see that the high scores persist. So that you can exit the game and come back and be able to still have your high scores, obviously. And then to clear the high scores, so I have the high scores there, and then if I go into the settings, hit clear high scores, you will get a message that will say, are you sure you want to clear your personal bests? Just to make sure that try to prevent any accidents, from accidentally clearing your high scores. And if I go and confirm it, go out of it, view the high scores, you see they're all reset back to 0. Other than that, though, it was fun to work on. Definitely had a lot of fun. The camera, getting the camera switch to work was definitely the hardest part. But doing it, I think I was able to create a pretty fun game. I think it's something that I'll actually use a lot myself. So, yeah, thanks a lot.